Well, hello everybody. Happy Sunday morning. Good to see everyone. I'm going to read you chapter 38. We're getting very close to the whole thing with Adia. That's chapter 44 is where that really kicks off. So we'll see how far we get today. I might start chapter 44. I don't know. Chapter 38 is titled, Well, Now You Have to Marry Me. This was December 6th, 2022. It was a Tuesday. It was day 151. Okay, I don't have a quote for it yet, but I will. I noticed that I don't have any quotes from Katie Gillis in here, and I need to put some because she's awesome. Hi, Katie. Okay, here we go. Hello, reader. I have some time before work begins. Time to get back to the trauma timeline. I need to get back to where I found out I was pregnant before Adia and Kaniki betrayed me. I suspected I was pregnant early on. I made a doctor's appointment and went by myself. Confirmed, Jaren. It looks like the baby will be born in mid-January. I was in shock. I knew this may happen. I just really hadn't expected it to. I was so damn young and naive. I was terrified, but also determined. I wasn't ready to go home. Ivan was home. I needed time to absorb and sort through this. I stopped at a diner. It was still early morning. I deliberately only ordered healthy sides off the menu, intending only give the baby healthy food. Yeah, that lasted that meal. In doing this, I realized something. I wanted this baby. No matter what, I was going to protect him. No matter what, he was to become my complete focus. The idea of terminating the pregnancy was never an option in my mind. This was to be my child, and I was determined to be the best mom to him possible. I sat in that diner and made myself a solemn promise. I needed to grow up quickly. I was not going to continue the sick patterns of the parents. This child was going to know every day that he is wonderful. He is perfect the way he is. He is loved. He is smart. He means the world to me. He will never know the pain I have known. I will not allow it. I know it sounds strange, but I knew this baby before he was even born. I knew he was a boy. I knew he was going to be intellectually gifted, and I knew that he was going to be important to this world. I had no doubt. And I, as his mother, had to give him the best shot possible. Ivan had brought up marriage often. I didn't really want to marry him. I didn't trust him as a partner. He had lied to me so many times. He had acted so bizarre so many times. I was afraid of him. He talked about what type of father he would be. He wanted to be the parent that does drugs with his child. So that the child could experiment in a safe environment. Oh, hell no. It seemed that every time Ivan opened his mouth, he would stick his foot in it. I drove home from the diner. Ivan was in the living room watching TV, eating sunflower seeds and chain-smoking cigarettes. I felt nothing but disgust for him when I walked in the door. I didn't sit down. I told him we needed to talk. I told him I was pregnant. He was quiet for a few moments, then continued eating his sunflower seeds. Well, now you have to marry me. Oh, fuck, no way. All of the lies, all of the sick games he had played, came rushing back to me. Incident after incident after incident. I saw in my mind's eye what life would be like if I were to stay with him and raise this baby. I envisioned nothing but abuse. Nothing but me working 2 or 3 jobs at a time while he sat on his ass, mooching off of me. No, I will not allow that to happen. No, I do not have to marry you. As a matter of fact, I'm leaving you. I'm not raising this baby with you. I don't even remember him looking up. Fine, then leave. I was in tears. Fuck. Where the hell was I going to go? I went to the room and began packing. I was sobbing. I heard Ivan Sr. and his girlfriend in the living room, talking to Ivan, voices being raised, arguing. I continued to pack through the tears. A soft knock at the bedroom door. Ivan Sr. came in, sat on the edge of the bed, told me Ivan is leaving. We kicked him out. We don't want you to leave. I know you have been trying your hardest. We see it. We know he isn't. I'm so sorry for the way my son is treating you. You are carrying our first grandchild. We want you to stay. Ivan will not bother you anymore. I won't allow him to. I broke down. I couldn't remember the last time I'd been shown such kindness. I felt such relief. My baby and I would be safe. No more walking on eggshells. No more tiptoeing around Ivan. No more. Eddie and I talked it all through. She was to be my Lamaze coach. She said, as long as you don't have him on New Year's Eve, I'll be I'll be drunk on New Year's Eve. That stuck in my head. I was so fearful that I would end up having him on New Year's Eve, and Adia would leave me alone. He wasn't due until 2 weeks into January. It will be okay, Jaren. What are the chances that you would have him that early? It was a difficult time. I was not always smart during the pregnancy. I had a lot of stress. I was working 2 jobs and began taking 2 classes at the community college. I wanted to become the best version of myself for this baby. Then the phone call came from Adia and the betrayal of her and Kaniki, and I broke. We have already talked about that, but I haven't spoken about what ensued afterward. I was done with Adia. I was done with Kaniki. I didn't want to stay in Tucson. I needed out. I was terrified. I felt truly alone. Graham was living in Montana. She wanted me to come up there. She had her own house. I could live with her and have the baby out there. Okay. Graham had been my one true constant. She'd be there for me and the baby. This seemed like the best option at the time. So I sold my car and bought a train ticket for Montana. I was only there for a month or 2. I fucking hated it so much. It was a tiny little town. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone was wrapped up in each other's business. It was like Mayberry and hell to me. My grandma told me to be on my best behavior. My uncle was well known and respected in the town. He was one of the town doctors. She didn't want me saying or doing anything to embarrass him, and me being a single pregnant woman was scandalous enough. Giant eye roll, guys. I resented the hell out of that. I wanted no part of it. I wanted to leave so badly. Okay, funny story time. Here we go. This town was so small that the mall was a strip mall with a Kmart and a pizza place. There was only one movie theater. It showed one movie at a time, so I decided to go see a movie. I got down there, but the damn theater was closed. I sat down in the doorway of the theater and thought about how the hell I had gotten here. I thought about Adia and Kaniki all the time. My heart was broken. I was so fucking unhappy. As I was sitting there, I began to cry. People were walking by, whispering to one another as they walked by, and staring at me. I heard a couple mention my uncle's name. Fucking assholes. They think they know me. They think they have me all figured out. Young girl gets herself knocked up, black sheep of her family, bringing disgrace to her family. Fuck them. They don't know me. They don't have a clue who I am, or what I've been through. They want to talk about me? They want to talk shit? Okay, I'll give them something to talk about then. So as people began walking by, every time they began talking shit, I began barking at them. Then I began giggling, the absurdity of it all in the forefront of my mind, me sitting there very pregnant, a month or 2 away from popping, barking at passerby who had nothing better to do than sit there talking shit about someone they didn't know. And it made me laugh aloud, which made me laugh harder because now I truly looked crazy, laughing hysterically, barking and startling people, laughing so hard now I was crying. It was beyond hilarious. Oh yes, I can't wait for this to get around town. God, that was funny. I was laughing my ass off the whole time. I made a decision on the way back to my grandma's house. I couldn't stay there. This was not where I wanted to raise my child. No way was I going to stay there long term. And then I had a scare. Contractions came early. Grandma rushed me to the hospital. They were able to stop the contractions. They were so happy to have done so, because they did not have the medical equipment necessary to take care of my baby had he been born so early. They would have had to send us both to a bigger hospital, which was hours away. Fuck this. I needed out of this hellhole. What if this happens again? No way am I going to put my baby's life at risk. It's time to leave Montana. So I spoke to the faux father and my biological father. I want to come back to California. I think it's safer for the birth of the baby. They all agreed. The faux father agreed to let us stay with him. I bought a plane ticket. I had to lie about how pregnant I was. They wouldn't let me fly if they knew how pregnant I really was. It was risky, but I felt I was damned if I did and damned if I didn't. I needed to be close to a hospital that was equipped to handle emergencies. Looking back and knowing what I know now, it was the right decision, lie or not. I can't remember how Adia and I began speaking again. I think she emailed or called, I missed her horribly, and I was terrified to have to go through the birth without her. Her and I began talking all the time again, but my walls were still up. And I still hated Kaniki. After all, Adia didn't know my true feelings. Kaniki knew them all too well. When Adia would call, the faux father would often answer. I didn't think anything of it at all. He would give the phone to me, Adia and I would talk. As per true Adia fashion at the time, she often called when she was completely drunk, which was all the time. I ended up going into labor at 3 a.m. on New Year's Eve. Time for another funny story. I woke up at 3 a.m. needing to pee badly. I went pee. I was cramping badly, but I was used to cramping, especially for the last month of my pregnancy. I was sleeping on the faux father's couch in the living room. I laid back down, and my water broke all over the couch. I was so tired, my first thought was I had peed myself, but there was no way. It took me a minute to fully understand what was going on. Oh my God, this is it. I went upstairs, knocked on the faux father's bedroom door. I think my water just broke. He said okay, and he would be out shortly. I went and woke Marjorie Taylor up, told her I was in labor. She told me basically good luck, but that she had to babysit in the morning, and she went back to bed. I went back downstairs. I called the maternal figure. Yes, we were talking back then. Again, I told her my water broke. She had been asleep. She acknowledged me and then hung up. A few minutes later, she called back. She was screaming, "You're going to have a baby! I'm going to be a grandma!" I hadn't heard her excited like this since I was a little kid. I hadn't expected it. She was genuinely excited, giddy, like a little kid herself. It was infectious. I began to get excited. Holy shit, I'm about to be a mom. My entire life is about to change. No more living for you, Jaren. From now on, your life will be all about this little soul. I will do right by him, no matter what. That is my mission in this life. I will be a good mom. We got to the hospital, got in the hospital room. I had to pee again. I went in the bathroom, feeling really badly about the faux father's couch. I stood up after peeing, and the rest of my water broke. I had no idea there was any more. It broke all over the bathroom floor. Great. I slowly opened the bathroom door. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Do you have a mop? I felt horrible. First the faux father's couch, and now the floor. The maternal figure and the nurse looked at me in bewilderment. I explained what had happened. "Oh my God, get in the bed," commanded the nurse. "But I don't want anyone else to clean it up," I retorted, embarrassed. She reassured me that it was okay, that no one would be bothering with having to clean it up, and that I needed to focus on getting ready to give birth. I know, what a goof. It's so funny how people react in stressful situations. Apparently, I'm up. I should have put Gage's birth down as a traumatic event because it absolutely was. Everything that could go wrong did. I went through 14 and a half hours of labor. We lost his heartbeat more than once. At one point, all of the nurses and doctors came rushing in, turned me on my side. They were frantically monitoring the monitors. I was terrified. I remember the maternal figure being there with me. She was scared too. I could see it in her eyes. Something was very wrong. When it came time to push, my biological father, the maternal figure, and the faux father were all in the room. I was so uncomfortable. I didn't want any of them to see me actually give birth. It was too uncomfortable. I asked for my biological father to leave the room. He looked very hurt. I felt so badly. I thought about asking the maternal figure and the faux father to leave, but I couldn't handle hurting them as well. And it was too late anyway. My OBGYN was there. "You're ready, Jaren. It's time to push." Holy shit. I was suddenly terrified. And then, the worst part of the ordeal, my OBGYN asked the faux father and the maternal figure to each hold a leg, and told me when to push. It was horrific. I immediately went back to the memory of the two of them looking at me, completely exposed at 4 years old. It was beyond overwhelming. Push! Push! Having to look at the two of them during this, trying to stay in the present, not 4 years old. I kept flashing from 4 years old to 19 years old. It was completely surreal. And we kept losing the baby's heartbeat when I would push. "Jaren, you have to push harder." "I can't. I'm going to pass out." Every time I would push, blackness would begin seeping in from my peripheral vision. It would nearly completely overtake me, and then I would stop pushing. "It's okay if you pass out. We will revive you." No. No fucking way. I was not going to lose consciousness in such a compromising situation, in such a compromising position. Unsafe, Jaren. Stay present. Focus. They got out the vacuum, began trying to suction him out, but every time they tried pulling, his heart rate would drop. I heard my OBGYN. We are going to try one more time. If we can't get him, we will have to do an emergency cesarean. I didn't understand why we didn't do one already. It was horrible. It was terrifying. It was unbelievably traumatic. We tried one more push. Nope. Losing the baby's heart rate again. He was in such distress. It's time for the cesarean. They would only allow one person in the room with me. I chose the maternal figure. They wheeled me in. I remember the anesthesiologist. He was so kind. He talked to me through the entire process. It's going to feel like an elephant is sitting on your chest. You won't be able to breathe. Don't panic. The air will come. I was so grateful for his words when my OBGYN bared down to get my son through my incision. It was terrifying. No air at all, and the pressure was insane. I thought I was dying, and then I heard that he was out. He didn't cry right away. From what I remember, he came out with an APGAR score of 0. He wasn't breathing. He was completely blue. I will never forget the relief of hearing his cry. Instantaneous relief. He had the umbilical cord wrapped around his abdomen twice. There was no way he was coming out without the cesarean. They put him up to my face, let me kiss him. I wanted so badly to hold him, but my arms were numb from the epidural. I remember the smell of his head. I remember the little red and white dots on his nose. I remember his poor little eyes were so sunken in. I remember his coloring being off. He was jaundiced. They hurried him off. They needed to get him under the bilirubin lights. The maternal figure went with them. I think I asked her to. I can't remember for sure. I was exhausted. The kind anesthesiologist was still there, politely as I could muster. I told him I thought I was going to vomit, and could he please get me a basin? He did, but told me the doctor was stitching up my incision and to try to not vomit violently. Well, that's terrifying. I envisioned vomiting and my intestines spilling onto the floor through my incision. I know, that wouldn't have happened, but my imagination was getting away from me. So I vomited, but like a lady, all dainty and shit. I vaguely remember them wheeling me to the recovery room, but I don't remember after that, not until I woke up screaming. I was still in the recovery room, and I was in the worst pain I have ever known. I didn't want to scream. I tried to stop. It was just escaping from me. The pain was beyond anything I can describe. We've given you morphine, Miss Kelzer. Not enough. I was able to muster. They gave me more. No change. We have given you the max allowable. No change. They couldn't give me anything else right away, so I had to lay there in the worst pain I have ever been in until they could give me a different pain medication. I can't remember what it was called. I think it began with the letter P, but I can't remember for sure. Whatever it was, it did the trick. I passed out immediately. When I awoke, it was nearly midnight. I was in my own room. They brought Gage to me. The first time I was able to hold my son was when the ball was dropping on TV on New Year's Eve, 1998. I could hear the festivities around me, but I was enamored with this beautiful little boy. I couldn't take my eyes off of him. He was perfect. Still is. He was beat up pretty badly. His head was badly misshapen from that damn vacuum they used, and he had what looked like a target and bullseye on his head from it. He only had hair on the sides of his head because of the vacuum, and he had bad black eyes, and it was yellow in color. I was so angry at what had been done to him, especially when I had kept asking for the cesarean. That whole ordeal that he and I had been through could have been avoided. It was such a difficult moment because on one hand, I was so in love, more in love than I ever knew I could be. But I was so angry with with what he had been put through. Trying to process it all was so difficult. And then there was the fact that I had done this all with the maternal figure and the faux father. That whole experience was so traumatizing for me, and I was so angry with my son's father. I knew I would never be able to rely on him, and I was beyond hurt regarding Adia. I couldn't help but wonder if I had stayed in Arizona, if I had never left, and I had gone into labor on New Year's Eve, would she have been there? Probably not. She probably meant what she had said, She probably would have been off drunk somewhere. She had called earlier in the night. I vaguely remember the conversation. I was exhausted. I just remember feeling so sad. She was the one person I felt safe enough with to have had this experience. Instead, the birth of my son was about as traumatic as possible, with people who, deep down, I did not trust. And it made me so depressed. It was difficult to not wallow in that depression, to not ruminate on what Adi and Kaniki had done, and how it had affected me in my life. And I don't think either of them truly understood that, or if they did, they just didn't care. Frankly, the truth of it is, they probably never even thought about it, because the reality is, Adi and Kaniki were selfish assholes. They didn't think about anyone else but themselves, and that's all that mattered. I wish that had been the end of them. I wish I had been strong enough at the time to tell them both to fucking rot in hell, to let them go. Kaniki I never gave a shit about again, but I was young and stupid and in love. I still had hope for Adia. I just could not give up on her. Though I probably should have. That's meeting my beautiful son for the first time. And that's my dad, Joe, with my beautiful son. That's the end of chapter 38. I'll be right back to read chapter 39.